Welcome back, everybody. Hot mic rolls on. I have I've already got 3 or 4 emails here. I knew it was not going to be an unpopular opinion on the Mayo deal, but I'll live with that. I know who's right, who's wrong. Welcome back, everybody. Super pumped to have our next guest in studio. Gosh, we've been doing this for 15 years now. You've been coaching longer than that, Troy Mattern, but you and I have been since you've been head coach. Stuff. Yeah. It's great to see it. This is an annual tradition of coming by in studio.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Yeah. Thank you.
We had your son on last week. Yeah. He gave us a little behind the scenes on the curtain. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I did.
So if you want, here's your time for rebuttal if you have anything there.
I think I might have to finish that story that he had because there's the player version and then the coaching version, right? But I don't probably get upset a lot, but that might have been the one. And then obviously when it's your son, we were going through, it was progressions and he wasn't reading the right progressions. And his quote to me was when I told him you didn't do the right progression and it worked, but he goes, I completed it, didn't I? And that didn't sit well with me. So we got into it. And then Coach Molden, who you obviously know, he came in and just kind of removed us and separated us. But I do remember calling home that night before we got home and talked to Mom and say,
heads up.
Yeah, heads up. When your son comes home, he might be a little upset. When your husband comes home, he might be a little upset. So, but no, it's all good.
But you guys walked that tightrope, and I know I talked with Kevin about this. He did it already with Trey. He's doing it again with Jet, and you guys live that was far and few between, right? In terms of that,
yeah. You know, I would do that again in a heartbeat. Yeah. You know, obviously I got my younger boy Jax there now.
Yeah,
and it's great. You know, that's why you get into coaching. Originally you want to coach your kids, and then obviously you have all the kids and their classmates and friends and that are over at your house and hanging out. So really they all become all your kids, and it's just a great bonding experience. All
right, we're a week into camp. How's things been going so far?
It's been going really well. Yeah. And as you know, we got a new co-op with Oak Grove, so we're trying to get our kids up to speed with them. Obviously, we had the summer too, but it's just been a good synergy amongst the two schools, and it's really, like I tell everybody, it's a win-win for both us and Oak Grove. So I think we're getting there. We play week 0, which is a week from Friday. Yeah, week from tomorrow.
You've not done that before, at least in Shanley, you have not.
We haven't. Yeah. So especially with a younger team to lose really a full week of practice, we're on a crash course, and there's a lot of learning going on, and we just got to hone in now. We scrimmage tonight. We head over to Cheyenne to get some scrimmaging in to hit a different color. So we'll truly find out tonight where we're at and kind of go from there.
It's also, we'll get to 3A in a bit because Fargo North is back up after the last few years being in 2A. You mentioned the Oak Grove Co-op. I don't know if I've had you on since that came to fruition. So describe, I guess, your knowledge of that and saying, okay, this is something we want to do. We want to help them out.
Yeah, we've been really looking at it from my perspective, from the Shanley perspective, for a couple of years now, because we kind of knew where we were at. And, my ultimate goal is to stay at AAA. Yep. I want to stay with the big schools. And just looking at numbers, we're only at 12 to 15 kids per grade. And when we're playing against a lot of teams with a lot of kids, we wanted to just get more kids, and I knew Oak Grove was possibly looking too. And then finally last year, it came to fruition, and it's been a great partnership ever since. And the kids have been awesome. The parents have been awesome. Kids have bought into what we're doing, and they got to have the summer program with us, which helped with the strength training and all the 7-on-7. But we got about 25 kids right now from Oak Grove, 9 through 12, and then a whole bunch more in the middle school. So it's a 4-year commitment. So we're going to go as if it is that, and hopefully, it'll be a long-term partnership. But we'll reevaluate after that 4-year period is done.
How much are you looking at them for those guys that could help your team this year?
Yeah, we're probably looking at, there's only a handful of upperclassmen. Yeah. Most of them are freshmen and sophomores, but the upperclassmen, they're doing well. We're excited with them. I think we'll have 3 or 4 that will help us on the varsity level. Again, tonight will tell us a lot where they're at, and because for them, just the big difference is the speed of the game. Yeah. So they're trying to get adjusted to playing a lot faster, and hopefully tonight we can see good things out of them.
There is a step up there. AAA football is, and this is something you and I have been talking about for the last 10 years of the level of play in North Dakota high school football, and it's not just your level. Heck, there's now NFL players in 9-man football, but overall, the skill level in North Dakota is pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and I think the skill level's always been there. I think it's the exposure that these kids are with social media, and obviously with the branching out of coaches from the NDSU staff, the UND staff, just all these Midwest staffs they're all over the country.
Yep.
So now, North Dakota has become a national brand. And a lot of these kids are getting national attention, and it's good to see. Unfortunately, this year we're playing against them all. We've been fortunate to have them on our team too, but this year we're playing against them, so it's going to be. But yeah, it's great for high school kids. It's great for exposure in our state, and it really makes for good Friday nights.
I was going to say you got Bismarck, and you have obviously Cheyenne on the schedule there.
Yeah.
The Schaefer kid, I don't know if people know out here. He's huge. We had him on the show in April. He is a mammoth of a man.
Yeah, he's
going to play at
huge,
Iowa State.
And then he's even bigger than huge. Yeah. But with him, he just moves so well.
Yeah.
For that size, he just moves well. And he's, Gibby's got it. I think he's got all his linemen back, and they're all,
So no complaints. I'm going to have him on next week.
Yeah.
He's been lamenting about numbers and all this the last couple of years to me.
I think next year we should have Gibby right next to me. And him and I together.
All right.
And
you guys can solve North Dakota football for me. I know that.
You just might have to leave an extra segment for that. So,
are we getting closer on that? By the way, on scheduling, are we moving any closer to figuring that out?
We're not privy to a lot of it either. We hear things are going, and I think, excuse me.
But you guys are all the same. Sorry to interrupt. Of the AAA coaches are on the same wavelength, right?
Yeah. We think next year, 25, there's going to be a revamp. What does that look like? And really, us AAA coaches, it really doesn't affect because we're staying AAA.
Yes.
It's just who's going to come along with us. And obviously, we're always a proponent of getting back to EDC football and being able to travel, I-29 or staying in Fargo, and then
that's why you guys moved.
Exactly.
I mean, that was the thought. I remember talking to you of wanting to do it, and then you went to Bismarck and Mandan 4 times last year?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make sense.
We always talk about basketball and, your rivals, your hockey rivals, everything's in town. That's the fortunate part of living in a metro, right? Where there's so many high schools and tourists coming on. And so we just want to get back to that. But I know there's a lot more logistics than what we want. But
well, I would think by 26, I said this because I had Jacob Holman on last week, who's the coach at Minot North. I think them and Horace will be in your division by 2 years from now.
Correct.
I really think so.
However, if they do a revamp in 25, I think they want to do a 2-year.
Yeah.
So it'd be 25, 26.
Okay.
So that might not happen until
27.
So who knows?
But that would then, if you have that would make it seem like, okay, then we can get the EDC and the WDA back to what it quote unquote was, right?
Yeah, and I think you kind of do the Minnesota model. You have your conference, and then when you go to the playoffs might look different, which I think is fine. That's always been I've been a proponent of is let's figure out the regular season where we can not travel as much, and then playoffs kind of just become its own thing.
You mentioned schedule-wise, we can look at it here. You open with Mandan, who's normally that's pretty good. You guys have had a nice rivalry with them over the last couple of years, and then after that it's South. So 2 games on the road to start 2024. Huh?
Yeah, Mandan, we've actually had a really good ride. They've had a couple good teams these last couple of years. We know they got a very talented quarterback. Coach Sheldon's going to have them ready to go. And I don't think it's a bad thing to travel this first week, especially with the young team, get them out of town, bonding a little bit. But yeah, we're excited for the opportunity. But like I said, we lost the whole week of fall camp, so we might not be our playbook might be a little more vanilla than what we'd like or what we're used to. But our kids will be ready for the challenge. And then coming back to South, obviously,
I love the fact you guys play.
Yeah,
I know that was important to you. You don't have to play South, but why is it important to still play them?
Well, obviously, being there for 13 years, it's a big part of who I am, and a lot of coaches are still on that staff, and it's just it was a big part of who my wife and I are, and our kids really. They were ball boys there, and now they're the quarterbacks at Shanley. So, but it's just a lot of memories. But again, you go down 25th Street, a couple miles. Why would you not play them? So it makes sense, and it just makes good for our fan bases to be able to watch a good high school football game.
Minot coming in too. That'll be fun. I mean, they're normal. Obviously, the reigning champs, the rematch of the Dakota Bowl. I don't mean to rip a Band-Aid off there, but that could be a heck of an environment for your home opener there the first week of September.
It will be because we got FM Athletic Nights, so all of our little kids will play. But yeah, Minot's a great program, and Chauncey does a great job there, and we're excited to play them again. Really, any game on our schedule right now is. There's a lot of good football teams in AAA, and I think if you talk to any coach across the state, there is no clear-cut favorite.
I was going to ask you that. It seemed like that to me. I don't know about to you.
I've been in AAA a long time, and I don't think, over my years, you can't pinpoint truly, a top team that's kind of sticks out amongst others. I think there's a lot of, a lot of balance within the state, so it's going to, that obviously could change over the first couple weeks once, we figure out how many kids have developed and changes and injuries, and there's so many variables that go into it. But
This is 2 years in a row, by the way. You've had an assistant gone during camp. Molden was gone last year at the Little League World Series, and I had Rustad on Monday, and I asked him about, hey, you're missing out on camp here. I'm watching. His team is playing right now. It's 2-1. The Texas team is leading post 2. I'm giving him a hard time about that, but how cool is that this is happening again for a guy in your staff?
It's awesome. And obviously I'm close to this whole post 2 team.
Yeah, you know a lot of these guys.
Five of the starters were on our Shanley football team, and then obviously along with Coach Rustad. Like I told him, if we don't defend the deep ball next week, it's still his fault. So I don't care if he's on our sidelines or if he's down in Shelby, North Carolina, he's still responsible for the D-backs. But it's really remarkable. The national, it doesn't matter the sport right now, especially baseball, for all of our kids at all levels that are getting the national attention, and it's really cool. And like I said, I've been following the game today, and hopefully they can make a run down there.
Landon Meyer, obviously, we had Chris on the show yesterday to chat about this, and Tim Paulsek made a point of that, going, go play baseball, go enjoy it, and football will be waiting when you get back. I thought that was important
really cool
to say.
Because more than likely Landon's going to redshirt, and why not? You only get to be a kid once. You only get to be with your high school kids, your childhood friends for one more run, and it's pretty cool that they're allowing him to do that, because not every program would. So, it's good that he didn't have to jump ship in the middle of a run.
Let's break. We come back. We'll chat. We got to talk uniforms. You got anything planned this year? Got some cool stuff planned?
We might.
All right, we'll do that. Yeah. Expectations for Shanley and a few other high school football topics with Troy Mattern, head coach of the Deacons, in studio. We're back on Hot Mic right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up hour 1. Troy Mattern joining us in studio. You tweeted this out to our good friend Mike Zier earlier this spring. Looks like we need to get this matchup going again. We last played in 1940, your first year of coaching.
Actually, Zier would have been in his 10th year then. So,
how about home? That'd be fantastic.
I think we should make a public claim right now that I'm requesting a home and home with Mike Zier.
And Beach?
Exit 1, and then what's Fargo? Exit whatever. A home and home with Beach.
Do it.
I like it. We'll play a 9-man when we come out there, and we'll play 11-man when we come to Fargo.
So I had him last week, right before he was starting his midnight practice. Have you ever entertained that idea of doing that?
We haven't, but I know a lot of people. Our first practice, we do go under the lights. We'll start it at 7 o'clock just to emulate, a Friday Night Lights and what it's about. But never to the point of where it's midnight.
Well, he's already hinting at me last week. He's getting near done. Then you were telling me before I got on, Nick, you're not sure how much longer you want to keep going here.
Yeah,
You've been doing it a bit though.
We've been doing it a long time, but we're going to get through this year, and then we'll reevaluate.
There's the head coach answer.
Exactly. We're on to man down. Yeah, we're on to man down.
We mentioned about with Cooper playing obviously at Concordia, and I asked him off air, and I was trying to figure this out because he had the transfer during the COVID, but they don't honor. Can you give the lowdown on that? Because I thought he had an extra year beyond this coming season.
Yeah, so no, he was a senior in high school. So his
2020.
Class, exactly. Yeah. So he's a 21 grad.
Okay.
And that class was still in high school.
Yeah.
So they didn't. So that's the class that kind of got the short end of the stick. Where everybody else. So when he got into college, all those kids, when they got into college their freshman year, the roster didn't change,
right?
Because every kid,
and that's why the thing at St. John's didn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why every room, whether it's a quarterback room, running back room, it was all 2-3 extra guys because graduation didn't happen. So it just became, and I know Concordia was 1A on his list originally, and obviously coming back, it worked out. Couldn't work out any better. He's had a good run there, and one more season, and he's excited to get going. As a matter of fact, they just started this morning. So.
Yeah, we were talking. We had him on the show last week, and they're going to be wearing new helmets.
Yeah, isn't that a cool
look? The white helmet look? This is fantastic of what they're going to be wearing this year.
He's really excited about that new look. Yeah, that white is pretty slick.
That's sharp.
It is sharp.
So if Concordia can get new helmets, the Bison have done it. You got black out there with black helmets and jerseys.
So we went all black last year. So we're trying to figure out what combination. We didn't do anything for this year, but we're looking at something for next year to kind of, these kids. It's all about the swag now, right? And
Feeney was here earlier this week telling me that he loves it. They're going to do something different this year in Moorhead. Right. I told him all orange.
Yeah, and it's nice because you can wear all the different combos. Yeah. So
people like that stuff now. I mentioned the talent level in the state. Where has it gotten the best in your mind in terms of football? Where has you think, even from 10 years ago to now?
Yeah, I think it's across the board, but I think really our big guys, I think the offensive and defensive linemen, because we just grow them so big here, and they're really, I think what's been good is these, excuse me, these kids have went off to camps and had success, and I think that really lets other kids know that the exposure is there and you just got to go find it. And we're fortunate enough, like I said, off air, is we have a lot of college coaches that, know our kids, know the area, are coming back to the area. You look at the Big Ten, the Big Ten is a national conference now.
Yep.
So a lot of these
Coast to
coaches
coast. Yep.
have to find Midwest talent to fill out their rosters just because of the logistics of where things are at. So
we had video up there of Jake Cava now on your staff. Tell us about that. Jake obviously played for you in your early days at Shanley, about adding him onto the coaching staff.
And during COVID, when the Bison played in the spring, he actually coached with us that fall too. So this is actually a second round with us, but Jake's a great young coach. He relates to kids so well. He's coaching our inside linebackers, and he just does a great job, and he has the potential to be a head coach someday. He understands the game, obviously playing for NDSU, 12 seasons? I think he was there.
I gave him a hard time about that. He was there for a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then we have Connor McGovern back tonight. He's going to come out to our scrimmage.
Nice.
And, former Shanley that played in the NFL for a long time. We're excited to have him back. He's going to, hopefully find a role in our program at some point too.
I'll have you come a little closer to the mic there. Yep. Sorry about that. That's a big deal. Getting an NFL guy back. I mean, that's got, and being a Shanley alum, and I know he's come back a handful of times. That's got to be a huge deal for you.
He's been connected to our program the whole time, and he's just a great guy, and he's an ambassador for Shanley football, and he's an advocate of what Shanley has done for him, in the weight room, just his teachers and what Shanley means to him is really why he got to where he is today.
You got to give me a good Jay Gibson story. But do you have one? You guys have coached against each other so long. You got one that comes to mind?
Yeah. It's Jay is, he's an icon of North Dakota football. And last year he was, when we played him, he had pneumonia. So he didn't even look good. But, the warrior he's out there. And
he's never not going to be there.
He's there. But, Jay is really just, like I said, the icon of North Dakota football, and to have the longevity that he has and the success that he has. And you know what you're going to get when you play a Jay Gibson team. And we always have a running joke because they don't warm up before a game. They got their linemen off punting and kicking, and you got it's like a slow pitch softball game. And then the first whistle blows, and they just smack you in the face.
Yep.
Jamie Heinen, who played for Jay Gibson, he's an assistant on our staff now. He was at a Grove, and he played for Jay. And Jamie was a really good player back in 2010, 11, in that era.
Yep.
And he says the same things. But yeah, when you play Jay Gibson, you better expect physicality.
When you were at those games, when you were at South and West, those were dynamite football. You did not leave early for those games.
And I remember when we played, because we didn't play at South at the time, we played in the Fargo Dome.
Yeah.
And we were getting 10, 11, 12,000 people at those games. It was crazy.
Such fun.
The amount of talent in those games.
Yeah, you think about that, and I was talking with Kevin Feeney about that. They didn't play. How did Austin Richard not play as a true freshman at South? Was there a guy that you either coming up through your we got to find a way to get this guy on the field? He might be a sophomore, but we got to find a way to get him on the field.
Well,
obviously, James was in that category.
We didn't really play James until halfway through his sophomore year too. Yeah. Ty Brooks didn't play a lot until his junior year. It's like
he'll remind me of that all the time.
Exactly. But Josh Horner, who ended up at NDSU, we couldn't find a spot for him until he was a junior. Catlin Solon played a little bit on offense or a little bit on defense as a sophomore, but there was just talent. And it was that's the benefit of having a big school, right?
I got an email the other day, and I'll ask you about this because I was asking Kevin, I'm like, well, can Moorhead go and play Cheyenne or West Fargo? And unfortunately, with Minnesota rules, that was not the case. I remember when you were still at South, you guys played at Dinah. I remember you guys going down there to play them. I would love for that to be lifted for Breckenridge to play Wahpeton, or you guys to go and play a Moorhead. There would be 15,000 people if that would have happened.
And actually, what we're trying to push is even get a 10th game. And we would like to play Sioux Falls.
Okay.
Where we could play O'Gorman and just do a back and forth between Howard Wood and maybe the Fargo Dome and just to make it a little more of a Midwest brand. Because my goal, and I've said this before, and we actually had one lined up with Brophy Prep. We were going to go down to Phoenix and play.
No kidding.
So my goal is to have one national game. So in a 4-year career for these kids that they could play a national game, and that's when St. Mary's ended up getting bumped up. So that changed our whole schedule. But we actually had a game lined up with Brophy Prep probably 2-3 years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we wanna,
that would have been something else.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, just to travel down there, and they could travel up to us.
Expectations for the year. Knowing you're a bit younger, but you still have a ton of talent. What do you give yourself for 2024?
Yeah, like
here?
we tell the kids, the standard's been set, and they got to rise to the standard. And our expectation is to be very successful. To get into the playoffs and get a home playoff game and go from there.
Yeah.
Once you get in the playoffs, you got to be lucky. You got to be you got to be healthy.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's got to go right. I mean, you look at last year's championship game. We're up 21, we're up 14 going into the fourth quarter. We had a lot of success, but that just tells you how things can go. Turn fast.
Have you watched that tape? Will you watch the tape?
I did watch it. Yeah.
That's it. One time and done.
Through 3 quarters. I didn't know there was another part of the game.
There's another quarter.
Our TiVo must have not worked. I don't know what the deal was, but from a standpoint or a fan standpoint, I mean,
dynamite.
There wasn't a better high school game. I mean, that was electric, and it was just.
Well, I think as you joked with me, you got Logan Conklin.
We got him a scholarship.
Yeah, exactly. In that game.
Yeah, that's what we're about. We're all about the kids, right? No matter what jersey they have on, we're always here supporting kids.
Lastly, before we go, I know you've told this story before, but Cooper told it last week when he was on when you sent Emmett Kenny out to kick the 58-yarder. Regale us with that again about what the play before didn't. I don't think went anywhere, and you're sitting. It's at the 41-yard line of your own Cheyenne territory.
Well, if you know Emmett was in my ear for like 5 years. I can kick 75-yarders, if there's no wind. So it's and he'd always come up to me. I'm good from here. I'm good from here. And we knew he had the leg. I mean, it obviously shows, but we didn't hesitate one bit. It was like a fourth, and it was a long ways.
Yep.
Yeah, so it just made sense because. Like we always said, the advantage of high school football is if he misses it, you don't get it at the spot. It's an automatic touchback in high school. So, in essence, it was a pseudo punt. But we always knew he had the opportunity to make it. And, and soon as it left his leg, we knew it was good. I mean, it was good from probably
65.
Or the number that he always gave me, Because even at, we played a couple other games. I think Cooper even mentioned we tried a 62-yarder, and I think he nailed that if it didn't get blocked. But, got
him a scholarship there.
Exactly. Yeah, Stanford, and he's going to win that job there this year, and he's excited. And I don't know if you've seen him, but he's seems like he's 2 inches taller, 20 pounds stronger, and he looks really good. And it's like a good golfer, right? The ball just comes off a little bit differently than most kids.
I'll just say this: we got to go. And when he kicked it, I'm like, and I said it right away in the broadcast. That's got a chance.
Yes.
Knowing Emmett, because I had visited with him that spring before, and that was. What were your reaction when it went through the uprights? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, we were the kids were ecstatic, right? But we're kind of already moving on to situational football.
Kick off the next.
Yeah, because if you remember our games with Cheyenne back, they were wild.
Well, if I remember correctly, you had 5 Division I guys in that game. And there were other college guys as well, but I think there were 5 Division I players on the field.
I think there were 14 college kids that played in that
2020 game. That's outrageous.
Yeah, there was a lot of talent. So
it's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming by. I know we'll visit during the season. Good luck this year, all right?
Appreciate it, Dom.
Troy Mattern joining us, Shanley head football coach. The Deacons open up a week from Friday against Mandan. We'll break hour 2 on deck. Lots to get to. We'll update Fargo Post 2 at the Legion World Series as well. We're back after this.